especially over the last few years where the market has been all over the place, some people might have a couple of layoffs on their resume, and that may look like jumpiness to someone who's just looking at the piece of paper or looking at the LinkedIn profile. What is your feeling around putting on your resume or on your LinkedIn, like laid off or let go or reduction in force or whatever language people want to use, so that if I'm just looking at your profile, I understand, oh, this person wasn't jumpy, they were impacted by things.
Yeah, I think if you get in that scenario, if there are like two or three, it is helpful information because at the end of the day, you don't want other people creating your narrative for you, i.e., the recruiter. So if you just put in parentheses, sort of why next to the position, why you moved on, or maybe next to the dates, it is helpful information. It's not going to make or break because if your background really begs for them to interview you, the conversation will come up. But I think in some cases where you do get in that category of like, okay, there's two or three that are pretty short stints, I should paint the picture for them before they're painting it for me, can be very helpful.
And I know we've talked about LinkedIn in the past, and it's one of our favorite words to use because it's the devil we all need out there. What is your feeling about posting a post on LinkedIn of like, I was laid off? You may have, especially if you're with a big company that was like publicly talked about the layoffs. I'm looking for work. I'm looking for the next thing. Like, how do you feel about those sort of posts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty commonly accepted practice to do. Here's the thing, like word travels fast. Industries are pretty small. So people out there know when companies are impacted by a layoff. So sharing that type of information and even looping in some of your teammates in a post of like, hey, I just got laid off. I do this and I'm going to be looking for a new opportunity. But I also know an amazing product manager and an amazing
Mm.
accountant, and sort of leverage their backgrounds too and just start to utilize your network. It's pretty common practice, like I said, even on social channels, on Twitter, you see it all the time, and there's less of that stigma of like people know, people understand the sort of the temperature out there and that layoffs are happening, and generally they'll know if about your company to some degree. So I think that can only be helpful, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I hope I'm not stealing your peek behind the curtain suggestion, but recruiters share those lists.
Yeah.
So often HR teams or recruiters will put together like, X company just had layoffs. These are the people that are open to being reached out to. And we literally share that Google Doc with people in our network. So to
Mhm.
your point, word is out there probably already, even if there wasn't some PR release about it, we in the space know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a good recruiter, that's 50% of their strategy is having their finger on the pulse of layoffs and what's happening out there in the world, especially for like evergreen positions that they're always hiring for, or tough to hire for. They know generally within 24 hours who's experienced a layoff. They're getting generated lists of that HR teams are sharing of who's out there and may be impacted. And also, and I know we'll chat about this a little bit too, but those people that aren't impacted but are sort of left behind after a layoff, they're going to be looking for those people as well.